everyone, and welcome to the first October edition of Topic Time with Harrison Young. What a year it's been for the show, and it just keeps getting better and better. We have another Zoom show tonight from the Philippines. My goodness, we are going everywhere. But the gentleman I'm interviewing is actually from Connecticut. I think Coventry, Connecticut. He's a chef. He's got a big story to tell about what he's doing there. We're going to cover all that and his history and his work and everything else like we always do. But before we get to him, got to read these awesome underwriters, and then we will commence per usual. We don't have a lot, but they're all awesome, so we read them off. So we got Rodney's Kitchen in Halifax. We got Maggie's Cuts in Kingston. We got Manny's Auto Repair in Taunton. We got Fiesta Chara Family Mexican Restaurant right down the road here in Carver. We got Salon Giovanni in Marshfield. We got Carver Jewelers right here in Carver in the building with Ronald R. and Lyle Delano Goldsmiths. We got New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We got Crazy Axes Rec Center in Hanover. We got Genuine's Inspection in Middleborough. We got the law offices of Cahalan and Stefani and Brockton, PC, specializing in workman's comp and in personal injury law. We got Ocean Street Auto Repair and Service in Marshfield, and we got DNS Auto Works and Repair and Collision Specialists in Abington on Route 58 right here. And I want to thank you guys very much. And now on that note, I'll now introduce Mr. Chris Booth. He's a chef. He's an ice sculptor from what I read, and this is going to be quite a show because, there are things about him that I didn't even realize before that we're going to find out like we always do on Topic Time. So, Chris, it's about 5 a.m. where you are there. It's 12 hours later, I guess.
Yeah, 12 hours ahead, yes.
Oh, yeah, so it's
tomorrow for you.
Thursday morning where you are. Okay, you look wide awake. I have to say, you're sitting in, it looks like I commented when we hooked up that you looked like you're sitting in a closet, but now you explain why. Yeah, just curious. You're not at a Motel 6 or they would have left the light on for you. Right?
Yeah, no. I have a loft. I have a loft here.
Okay, well, all right. Let's first of all tell us what you're doing in the Philippines. What's your story there? You explain it. Go ahead, elaborate. Then we'll profile you.
Okay. Well, like I said in my pitch, COVID hit the culinary industry and the film industry pretty hard. The two areas I have experience in and I work.
Okay.
And there was an opportunity through a retired general I knew in the Philippines.
Okay.
Family and friends. And it's right now renewable, sustainable farming with FFA, which I have through my high school in Connecticut, about 12 years, Future Farmers of America, and the new technology that is a part of it.
Okay, so
as well as quarry and sustainable resource management as well. Okay,
so are you a farmer as well as a chef?
Yeah, I grew up on farmland and I worked on Yukon. Went to school, extra classes in Yukon, Connecticut, which is a science farming agricultural school.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the college Yukon, University of Connecticut, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, yes. And you went to their special science farming school.
Yes.
Okay, let's break this down. You also, and according to your Facebook profile, you're also an ice sculptor.
Yes, I've been a chef for 18 years after culinary school, ice carving and competition, as well as mostly 4- or 5-star dining for the past 18 years. But then COVID hit.
Yeah, I know that was rough for all of us, obviously. Okay. Well, tell me about what does ice sculpting have to do? Does that have to do with being a chef as well?
No, it's more of I do it for competition.
Okay.
But yeah, in the finer parties and the bigger parties, the swans and the birds and the fishes that are on for display. Well, you have to learn how to carve those. You use literally carpentry tools, and I learned how to carve them through training and through my chef teachers teaching me. We draw out a outline, and we literally just take some water and paste it on a big block of specially cured ice so it's clear. And then just like carving wood, you grab your drills, your bits, your cutters, and you start drilling into it and cutting it and detailing it.
Wow. So basically you're an artist too. Have you ever done any other kind of sculpting besides ice cutting, or is that it? And how did you get into it?
No, I've done clay work as well. So
sounds to me like you have a good hand for the delicate snip, the delicate.
Yes. I even taken the ice carving abilities and sat on a big table many times for garde-manger, which is food sculpting. You get designs and melons and dragons and other things.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's, my only concern about an ice sculpture is how do you keep it from melting? Just keep it in the freezer? You got to keep it in a cold.
Yeah, we keep it in the freezer, because the freezers get, big walk-ins will get pretty cold.
Yeah, of course.
And then we take it out at the appropriate time. And yeah, by the end of the party, it's sometimes you have to do the thickness correctly and the style correctly, because at the end of the party, yeah, it's getting pretty thin and sad looking,
Right. Okay. Well, so you do these for parties, or do you just? I mean, where are these?
Catering parties.
Catering?
I learned for competition, and but we do them for parties. Catering.
Okay. That's awesome. All right. That's incredible.
Banquets, weddings, large parties like that.
All right. So you do catering, and I'm wondering, are you a TV chef too?
No.
Okay. No. I can't think of the guy's name, but okay, well, that's fine. You are now, sort of, because you're on TV. That's not to that end. All right. So you're in the Philippines now. You're doing something to deal with farming.
Yeah, it's resource management and renewable farming.
All right. And does that have to do with plants, animals, both?
It deals right now with rice and sugar canes, as well as quarry management and lumber management. And then after the area has been dealt with, it's turned into farmland in a sustainable way with modern techniques. Okay.
So you're basically farming sugar and cane over there in the Philippines. Is that right?
Creating the farms. I'm not the actual farmer. I'm creating the design, the substantial way of doing it, new ways of doing it, added in with their culture.
Oh, okay. So how did you end up becoming an international farmer like that?
My wife is from the Philippines.
Oh, cool.
And through family friends, there was an ex-general that we knew. And when
of their army, right?
Yeah, of their military, yes.
The military, right? Got it.
Yeah, and he owns the land. And when I was visiting during COVID and all that stuff, he told me, he's like, "Well, I need someone, and I need someone to be able to do this. Do you know anyone?" And I pitched him some ideas, and I got a hold of the correct people in Connecticut to assist with this.
Oh, cool. Okay. So basically, because your wife is from the Philippines, and it gave you the opportunity to go to the Philippines
to get to know him. Yes, to know him.
Have you ever? Now, did you mention that you went to did you go to Europe as well for more of this stuff as well? Did you I thought you mentioned that when we were setting this up.
I went to Uganda and also Canada.
So for farming purposes?
Yeah, all the same purpose, yes.
Yeah, okay. And what do they farm in Uganda? Same.
Well, they're farming coffee beans.
Okay.
And they're also trying to expand and learn modern techniques to actually farm sustainable ways for anything, and that's fruits and vegetables and feed for the cattle. So it's Yukon and Future Farmers America, which is FFA. When I was younger, taught you future sciences, which is the science of now. Today's classes are teaching the kids future sciences, which will be the science of tomorrow. The skills and science for tomorrow.
All right. What'd you do in Canada?
Sat down with the Uganda ambassador, had a few meetings. Pretty much just did meeting after meeting with the delegates. Finance minister, the people that I need to get the okay. I have to get vetted. It's a process.
Okay, I understand. It's obviously, it sounds like you're a political bigwig too. I mean, to some degree.
No, little wig. I know political bigwigs. I'm a little wig.
little wig. I got it. Okay. Well, tell me about where you cook. I mean, you're a caterer, but do you work in any restaurants as well?
Oh yeah, mostly 4 or 5 stars. Barcelona, tapas for Spanish and cuisine.
Wait a minute. Now
I've done French cuisine.
Oh, hold up.
What's up?
Let's break this down a little bit. So you worked in a restaurant in Barcelona, Spain?
No, it's called Barcelona. It's actually in Boston.
Oh, it's in Boston. All right. Is it Spanish food? It sounds like it could be.
Yes, it's Spanish food, tapas.
Okay. So it sounds like you got a lot of background in international cooking. So it's not. It's
American French cuisine.
Now, did you learn all this stuff at UConn, or did you go to other schools for it as well, or did you sort of self-taught?
Oh, I went to Center for Culinary Arts in Cromwell. That's where I started.
Yeah, that's Connecticut.
And then MCC, that's Connecticut, and then MCC, Manchester Community College for hospitality, which is this first college I went to, which is in Connecticut.
All right. So how long have you been in just now? When you're in the Philippines now, who's running the restaurants where you'd ordinarily be cooking? And now, do you own a catering business too?
No, I don't. I usually work for catering businesses. And when COVID hit, it destroyed the industry. Most of every cook was unemployed. Okay,
right. Do me a favor, sit back a little bit because the bottom of your mouth is kind of, there you go. That's better, much better. All right, keep it up. All right, yeah, much better. Absolutely. Okay, so are you cooking at all in the Philippines? Or are you just doing the farming? I mean, you do both?
I'm just doing the farming thing. I have a contract set for mid-October to all the way to February. Which I'm going back on the 10th to America. To start.
Okay, start back to cooking again, right?
Yeah. Now that everything's opened up again, now that COVID took it's still there, but everything's more relaxed and everything's starting to pick up again.
It's much better now. I mean, there was a really nice restaurant right next to my TV station here that if you were here with me in person, I'd probably invite you over to have dinner afterwards. I usually invite my guests over after we finish, if they want to come, male or female, doesn't matter. So how many restaurants are you working at now currently?
Currently, yes. I have my contract at one.
That's Barcelona's?
Yes, that's the Barcelona, and that would be in Fairfield.
Fairfield. I thought you said it was Boston.
I learned in Boston and Fairfield, but they have the main of Barcelona is in Fairfield.
Okay.
And then there's Boston and Atlanta, Georgia. They have restaurants.
Oh, okay. And you worked at all of them?
About 7.
Yeah.
7 or 8 of them.
Okay. And have you worked at all of them at some point?
No, I've only worked about 4 of them.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. And how long have you been doing this for? How many years?
This is the 19th year of being a chef.
Okay.
I started off as before culinary school, dishwasher and a prep person.
Yeah.
Then culinary school, and then 19 years after culinary school.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, did you want to be a chef when you were a kid growing up?
Yeah, I've always cooked my own birthday meals. I've always wanted to learn. My mother's a great cook. I was always cooking.
Okay, you're actually, believe it or not, you're the second chef I've had on as a guest, and the very first one I had was my very first guest, going back to 2010 when I started the show. But he was on twice. But he's also an actor. When he did it, he was a retired postal worker. He grew up in the north end of Boston. His aunt and his mother taught him how to cook. And next thing he knows, he's getting on with Emeril Lagasse, the Fall River guy, the big guy that goes bam. He's the nationally known chef. Yep. And he ends up he gets about 14 movie roles after that. He gets to work with all the big stars. So that's
wow, nice.
It is.
I'm actually before COVID hit was crew member and for a couple of movie companies as well. Just crew.
Oh, you were. Well, how about have you ever actually been in a film as well, or just worked?
Yeah, I've actually been Bleed for This. I was an extra.
Oh, you Bleed for This? Oh yeah.
I'm usually wearing monster makeup and horror and zombie stuff.
Well, Bleed for This was about Vinny Paz, and I interviewed Vinny the following year in my Bridgewater, Mass location. So what did you play? Yeah, what did you play? I went to see the premiere too because they invited me down. I know the guy that produced it, Chad Verdi from Rhode Island. You maybe know him.
I was just one of the people in the audience in the front row because I look good in a suit.
Okay.
And I was also one of the people asking questions as news reporters during the interviews.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I probably saw you in the film. It's a good film. I think Vinny felt that he got screwed out of the revenue end of it, but he told me that when I interviewed him. Not so much during the interview, but I actually had to pick him up and bring him back because he wasn't driving at the time, and it was worth it though because it was a great interview. We did it 5 years ago. Okay, so have you been in any other films besides that?
Mostly like monster movies, zombie movies. I usually have makeup on or the zombie stuff on. Like I enjoy Halloween, so that's actually how I started.
Okay,
Going to be an extra as a zombie.
Wow,
so that's how I started.
So you're a chef.
Most of them I have stuff on.
Oh, so you're a chef. You're an actor. You're an ice sculptor, and you're a farm advisor.
Not saying actor. It's more of a hobby, but
well, it's not, yeah, but it's anything.
I've been on crew, which is behind the scenes on many movies.
Okay, but now behind the scenes meaning what? You mean you cater the film?
Well, I started off as a PA.
Okay.
And I've worked my way up through the years as production supervisor.
Okay. To any particular company?
Mid-level management.
Any particular?
I've worked for David Gear, Richard.
I know David very well.
And Doug Cartelli, who has a construction business, Concrete Superstructures, actually does a lot of the funding for some movies.
Okay. By the way, I was in Vault. Remember Vault? Were you in that? Remember Vault? About 1975 in Vegas.
Yeah, I believe I've seen that. Yeah.
We went. I got a little role in that in 2018. Chaz Palmieri was starting that, and I heard him interviewed this morning on Kiss 108 in Boston.
Oh, very nice.
You know The Bronx Tale? Remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he wrote that. It was pretty cool to hear him interviewed this morning. I loved it. He worked with Frankie, the guy that my first chef interview that I had on in 2010, and he was on again in 2014. So all right, so you've been with David Gibbs, getting pretty big now. I know his work is, he's had some pretty legendary people come to Connecticut to do his films and Rhode Island as well.
Oh yeah.
And there's no reason.
I've had to handle some of them.
What do you say? What do you mean handle them? You mean feed them?
Handlers are people that keep them out of trouble, make sure the assistants are doing what they're supposed to do.
Okay.
Don't let them get into any situations that would jeopardize their careers.
Right. Does that make you sort of a bodyguard as well?
Oh yeah, I've been security before too.
Oh, okay. What about?
I'm a big guy, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. You can't really. You can sort of tell, even though all I see is your head there. You ever do any work in music? You ever play music, sing, dance? Perform dance?
No. I play oddly enough the clarinet and jazz when I was younger. High school band.
Okay.
The drums, but that's more of like.
That's cool.
That's fun. That's never professionally. Always just for fun or enjoyment.
Oh, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. What about sports? You play sports at all?
Yeah, soccer and hockey my whole life.
Okay. Yeah, you look.
In hockey, I was an enforcer. Pretty much grabs a puck and slam him up against the wall.
Yeah, I know. Just like I can't think of the guy's name, Matt McSorley. Remember him from the Edmonton Oilers? He was the goon for the Oilers. Yeah. That was a long time ago. You were probably just a kid.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. I know you were born in 1979. You're 20 years younger than me, but I remember all those teams too. Oh, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, the Whalers was good. We
the Hartford Whalers,
loved the Whalers until they left us, and now we're like Whalers who,
Well, the funny thing about the Whalers is that you weren't born yet, but in 1973, the Bruins, who had won the Stanley Cup in '72, were ousted from the playoffs pretty quick. They were pretty much bounced from the playoffs in the second round, but the team that won there was a new league then, that was the WHA. Then the New England Whalers came in and won their first cup for the new league. Now they'd merge years later. That's when Gretzky took hold in Edmonton, and then some of the teams stayed when Gretzky became a member. Some of the teams left, depending on which organizations had the money and didn't. Yeah. And of course, now as they say, the National Hockey League is as big as ever because of the merger, but it took a long time. But
I remember as a kid reading all that.
Yeah, of course. All right, that's cool. So currently you're going to be in the Philippines till mid-October, and then you're coming back. Do you have any other projects going on in the next few weeks where you're going to be all overseas, or next few months?
At the beginning of December, I come back to continue the quarry. Which should be the quarry. What we're getting we're waiting for permits, and the ECC, which is the environmental permit.
Okay,
we're going to an industrial level and permit, and it's getting released in beginning of November. So in December, I'll be coming back to the Philippines.
All right, that's going to be in Connecticut, right?
No, the quarry's in the Philippines.
Oh, you're going to be back to the Philippines?
Yeah.
Wow, so you spend a lot of time there then.
Yeah, I've spent a good 8 months off and on here.
So
Permits take a while.
yeah.
Um, Oddly enough, Philippines is like America in the 1920s. Everyone needs to get their cheddar to be able to make sure things happen.
Okay. So, well, I mean, is your wife with you too? I assume that she might, if she must have.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. So it's not like you. Do you guys have children?
No, not yet.
Well, that's good. That way, well, at least it frees you up. At least you're not, it's a good thing you're not in a long distance relationship because of your job. At least because you're together.
Yeah,
And
no.
that's pretty.
No,
That's
she does medical school in Connecticut. And
okay.
in February she starts her next semester, so we have time.
Is she going to be a nurse?
We work around school and work in the United States. And plan ahead.
Is she going to be a doctor or a nurse at some point?
Yeah, medical nurse, caretaker, and elderly supervisor.
That's great. Okay. So, but when she's with you in the Philippines, can she do any of that there? I mean, how does she, or is she, we might like,
yeah, she actually has a store here, Rosa's store. It's frozen meat, bulk rice. There's different things that, she has.
Okay. So she's plenty busy over there.
Yeah.
Busy. Okay, great. All right. But if she runs the store when you're there, who's running? Somebody else runs it when you go home, right? To Connecticut?
Yeah, her mother.
Oh, perfect, man. You got the life of Riley there. I mean, you work hard, but it seems like
it took a lifetime. It did,
but every scenario for you was playing out perfectly, it looks like, in terms of your work.
So far.
Yeah, that's great.
There's always speed bumps and there's always curveballs.
Of course, yeah.
Prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Right. Well, I'm thinking now, do you feel that, I know COVID sucked, but do you think maybe there was some upside to it after all this, the way you came through, got to do all these things?
It evened the playing field for most people.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I meant. I guess it did for you too, right?
Even for the rich and famous, it evened the playing field for everyone else. It brought everyone down to an equal playing start point.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I didn't, before COVID, I never would have thought about doing Zoom for an interview. And I've been doing the show since, like I said, 12 years now, my 13th. And so to that end, I guess it's a pretty big deal that, it was a pretty big.
Oddly enough, COVID has made Zoom very popular.
I know.
It's made a lot of money.
Exactly.
COVID was very good for Zoom.
Absolutely. And I know. But I had nothing to do with Zoom that I started it. The only reason I started Zoom back February 18th of 2021 was because the woman I was interviewing, who also lives in Connecticut, was going to come up and do my show at one of my other locations, but it was snowing out. So I figured a couple inches of snow might be a little hazardous. So we tried it. And since then, we've never looked back. We've gone everywhere. It's great. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to do the interview tonight if we didn't have Zoom. You are. So what does your day look like? Once the sun rises over there, what are you going to be doing after you're done with me? You said you got a 6 o'clock meeting.
Double checking the permits, having a few appointments done, contacting the contract supervisor to make sure everything is good and good with it for when I come back to America.
Okay.
And packing, because this weekend I start my 26-hour flight trip, 3 flights, about 26 to 28 hours total between different airports. Every time I travel, I spend time in Qatar, which is the most expensive city and richest city in the world.
You're talking about Qatar in the Middle East?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going there next?
Yeah, I go every time I do a trip. I take Qatar Airlines.
Okay. Interesting.
And it always goes to their main city hub. So
wow.
I've met a lot of people through there in the next few years. I have plans with getting a hold of people and getting them involved in things.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, you're a man of the world. Well, guess what, Chris? We're down to the final 5 minutes of the show. I hope we covered as much about you as we could, and I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yep. Answering all. I don't know. That's pretty much everything. I'm a simple man,
Oh, that's okay. Now, did you say you had like a 6 o'clock meeting coming up? It's 6.
Yes, I have a 6 o'clock meeting. 6 p.m. in Connecticut. 6
p.m. where you are. Well, you'll be just in time because we're going to be done in a few minutes. All right. Well, a couple of things. First of all, if you had a good time with me, feel free to recommend me to other people that you know, whether either by, you got my digits, have them text me. We'll get them on the show either by Zoom or in person.
I even know a few people in Australia too. I'll ask them.
Oh, yeah. Australia's great. We did an interview to Australia last year and it came out amazing.
Yeah, you mentioned it. So I thought, hey,
Okay. And the other thing,
I'll even ask David Gear if he's interested.
Well, yeah, I'd like to interview David. Tell him what a great time you had with me. We actually did in 2013. I did get a couple of sound bites from him. I went to an event in Danbury that he was hosting, but it was hard to get sound bites because there was a lot of commotion. It was at a big restaurant. It was crowded, and we were outside, and he could only talk for a couple of minutes. But I would love to get him on for a regular, half-hour interview if he'd do it. That would be great. And we are Facebook friends. And the other thing I'm going to ask is that when we finish up, would you mind just sit around for a couple of seconds and do a quick picture for Facebook to prove that you did my show? I have Chris, my guy. His name is Chris Tooley. He's going to take the picture. All right. Well, Chris Booth, you did a great job with me. Thanks for being my guest.
Thank you, Mr. Blake.
Blake is my middle name. It's Young.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, Harrison. Then I'll call you Harrison.
I appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to wrap the show up, and then we're going to do a picture, and then when the show is done, which will probably be next week, I'll send it to you, and you can share it with the world and get me more guests if you can. It'll be awesome. I'll still get guests, but if you want to help me get more, that would be great.
Hey, I'll do my best. I'll do what I can.
I think you'll help me. I expect this to go a long way. All right, Chris. Are you ready to wrap the show up the way we began with my music? All right, folks. Thanks for watching Topic Time. See you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.